of you is that this is the perfect book to be reading after that critical moment that you find out you're getting into college, because it's that moment where you think you've achieved everything, and it actually is really just opening up a whole new set of possibilities and new situations to navigate. And it gives people, and particularly students who might not know who to ask, maybe they can't ask their parents for whatever reason, it really gives them like that tool, that reference guide that you were talking about.
The first line of the book really came from a student at the University of Iowa back when Christine worked at the University of Iowa, taught there many years ago. And it was one line from an upperclassman saying, there are options. That's literally the first line of the book, because really what the book tries to help you see is there are tons of options. And by the way, resources on campus there to help you in these struggles you have. And you're going to have struggles. There just are. Everybody is.
So that's what I love about the Freshman Survival Guide, because what you did years ago was open up a place for students to ask the questions, students to answer them from their own perspectives, but none of these is a sort of one-size-fits-all response. And this is really the difference between understanding your goal and understanding your sense of larger purpose, because the goal is to get into college, but your larger purpose, the meaning that you derive from the experience, well, that comes from the growth process, that comes from learning, that comes from asking the questions. And yet, when we're just so focused on the goal, then we need to actually help young adults in that transition. So I love the idea of, great, you're in. Here is the guide to help you bridge that next step.
And Christine, that kind of plays off of something that Christine has done with her happiness work. In our many conversations over the years, we've talked about it. You've been a great, as somebody who's on campus at Wisconsin, really plugging into what students are going through and seeing. And can you talk a little bit about that?
What students seem to do is exactly what we as a society ask them to do, which is to achieve, to focus on the boxes they need to check, the hurdles they need to leap. And then since we tend not to encourage them to ask why, often they don't ask why until it's too late. The challenge with not asking these larger questions of meaning and purpose is that you feel socially isolated. You feel alone. You feel potentially like you're just going through the motions and not living the life that you want to live. And when you are alone for the first time at university, when you are, on your own, that is one of those first moments where you have to really confront those big questions of, who am I? Who do I want to be? What do I believe? Not what my parents want me to believe, or not the rules that other people are putting on me. But, I can get away with a lot on a college campus. Who am I? What are my values? What are the strengths that I want to use? And how can I use all of these limited resources of time, of energy, of limited money, and of my emotional resources in a way that builds the life that I want to live? And when I teach this in my classes, I don't expect young people to have an answer, but asking the questions and making the space and the place to ask the questions is so important.
Christine was telling me just earlier today that one of her students, she overheard in her morning lecture say, my whole life, I'm just running on anxiety. That's how I get through the term. And when she told me that, it made me laugh, because 4 years ago, that's exactly how I felt. Every semester in college, I would get through every term, and at the end of every term, I would have a crash, and I would just spend maybe like 2 or 3 days stuck in bed, sick or what be it, but just totally burnt out. And so what I'm hearing that you guys are saying is, in addition to teaching people how to really practically manage some of these components of college, it's also giving young people the resources to think about some of these bigger picture questions and really ask themselves why they're doing these types of things, so that you don't have to live and you don't have to constantly stay in that state of really extreme anxiety and come out the end of it. Yes, maybe you have a degree, but maybe at the cost of your mental and physical well-being.